and welcome to the program. I'm Bridget Brennan in Darwin. Coming up, a look at how climate change could affect the Torres Strait Islands.
We're left in a situation where up until the 11th hour we'll be told to pack up and leave.
But first, it's been a long-awaited homecoming. The community of Gunbalanya in Arnhem Land has been celebrating the return of their ancestors' bones. 60 years after they were taken by researchers, the remains have finally been reburied. Genevieve Hussey reports.
It's a funeral. We're burying people. Once were taken away to other countries, and now they send them back to us.
The community of Gunbalanya in West Arnhem Land is celebrating a long-awaited return. After 60 years, the bones of their ancestors have been returned to their country.
When the first few came back home, I felt happy. I felt very happy.
Our ancestors came back. Finally, we got them back, and for me and the family, so we're happy to put the remains on the ground and welcome back home.
It is a sense of completion for the community, and it is a sense of joy. It's kind of like a joyful burial because they're home.
In the north of Australia, scientists of the Arnhem Land expedition, conducted by the Australian Department of Information and the National Geographic Society of America, set out along the Alligator River to gather specimens. One at Argalook Hill behind...
In 1948, a team of American and Australian researchers, led by Charles Mountford, embarked on an epic scientific expedition across Arnhem Land.
One of its objectives was to try to understand the relationship between Aboriginal people and the environment. That was, in fact, quite groundbreaking in terms of anthropology.
They had everything from an ichthyologist to entomology. One of the main things they wanted to do was to promote Australia around the world, and so the Department of Information was very much involved in saying, well, this is a giant scientific expedition.
In the country around Gunbalanya in West Arnhem Land, they struck scientific gold.
Primitive relics of an even more primitive age.
There's one isolated hill, and that was absolutely loaded with all sorts of wonderful platings of the art of the area. And we spent days and days up there photographing them.
The team not only collected bark paintings and Aboriginal implements, it also took pieces of human bone.
In the excavations of a rock shelter.
They were excavating these sites, and during these excavations they found some fragments of human bone, but most of the human remains were simply removed from the back of rock shelters. They were lying where they'd been left many years ago, some of them in paper bark, and they were simply taken away by the researchers.
Much of the collection ended up at the Smithsonian Institution in the United States.
There are hundreds of objects that range from bark paintings to a wide variety of tools, all sorts of things.
But it was the collection of human bones that the community of Gunbalanya was concerned about.
Bodies were taken without any asking. So we had no ceremony for them because they were away. That I didn't like.
Those remains should never been touched in the first place. We should never remove any remains or disturb them once they've been placed in a place where they belong.
In 2008, the Smithsonian returned 2/3 of the human remains to Australia, but it kept the rest. Last year, after lobbying from traditional owners, the Smithsonian agreed to return the remaining bones. And traditional owners from West Arnhem Land travelled to the US to collect them.
They performed a very beautiful ceremony at the Smithsonian Institution. Joe Gumbalo, one of the representatives, put it to me. These spirits, these people have just been hearing American accents over here. We want them to hear their language. And so almost on a sort of wave of song, they were being taken back into their country.
So I feel sorry that they were stolen. Stealing is not bloody good to everybody. We should leave stealing and live together, black and white.
Now those remains have been laid to rest, along with remains that had been held by the Museum of Victoria and the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory.
We are gathered now to celebrate our loved ones and to lay them in the ground. They were taken away from us for many years and now finally came home to us to rest in peace.
Carrie.
Archaeologists say this first ever international repatriation by the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of Natural History sets an important precedent.
It's the thin edge of the wedge in a way, and other Aboriginal communities and other countries will be able to seek repatriation of that material.
Other museums and galleries around the world that hold human remains from Western Arnhem Land should be talking to communities now about how to get them back and the best way to bring them home.
There's a lot of remains that are still being kept overseas as well. This is the first step.
But for the community of Gumbalanya, this is the end of a long battle.
It is a happy ending story for us. It's been very rewarding day for everyone to honour them and to welcome them back to the community.
Finally, they all came back. Would they come back and sleep now? They will forever.
Residents on the Torres Strait Islands off Queensland are demanding urgent action to combat rising sea levels. They say they don't want to be the first climate change refugees in the developed world. People on 6 of the islands say infrastructure and sacred sites are being washed away. Here's Jeff Waters.
For the people of the Torres Strait, climate change is evident. They say tides in recent years have been getting higher. Roads, gardens and buildings are being ruined, sacred burial grounds washed away.
This is fresh one here.
For about 2 years, community leaders have been asking for $22 million to pay for seawalls and other works.
We cannot wait for any revenue stream to be achieved as a result of the carbon tax, if that ever goes through.
Claiming neglect by state and federal authorities, appeals have been made to the international community for support.
Well, we're actually been reporting to the United Nations on getting some attention from the climate change to help us work with departments and organisations that need to be working with us.
We're left in a situation where up until the 11th hour we'll be told to pack up and leave.
They've been left to construct makeshift defences.
But this is the only way we can do it.
One of the architects of the carbon tax says the concerns are justified.
We have storm surge, we have vulnerability to disease, we've already got lost infrastructure, and these communities need help now, and it's up to the government to start putting money in.
The opposition's Indigenous Affairs spokesman agrees.
You're doing this carbon tax, you've got all this money, you're spending $3 billion overseas, and the people who are actually being impacted practically on the ground are getting nothing, and I feel for them, and I think they've got a very good case.
A spokesman for Climate Change Minister Greg Combet says the government has invested about $1.5 million in assessing the problem and future risks.
We might lose this.
He says more research needs to be done before what he called site-specific action can be taken. Jeff Waters, ABC News.
To the Kimberley now, where young hip-hop dancers have honed their skills with a bit of help from a visiting choreographer and social media. Jason Bird has choreographed for a popular reality TV show, but it was young hip-hop dancers in Broome that got him excited.
I'm Jason Bird, I'm here at the Drop-In Centre in Broome. We're up here to do some hip-hop workshops with the kids. I've been a hip-hop choreographer and dancer most of my life, and been able to come up here and teach these kids some moves and inspire them to kind of create their own. A lot of these kids love hip-hop, but they haven't had a chance to do it yet, so giving them an opportunity to kind of work with some kids that they haven't worked with before and from the schools around the area and put together a performance. So yeah, we're all excited about it. Hip-hop dancing is it's got its own culture, and a lot of these kids have that culture because they're influenced by the things they see on TV, you know, their friends, and you know, they love getting together, and that's what they've been doing here, is jamming, dancing it out. 4, 5, 6, 7, jump, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. And the kids were kind of a little bit shy to start off with, but man, can they dance. Like, they showed me a few things, let me tell you.
G'day people, my name is Patrick Yambo and I'm from Derby. It's in the 2-hour drive away from Broome. This is in Western Australia here. Like every day I just blast music like in the back of my house and all that. And yeah, started to dance.
What we're trying to do is use those interests that they have to kind of get them to think positively and to branch out into the community, working with other kids in the schools, and you know, build this hip-hop community here, because I think they'll all enjoy it, and I think we're on our way, so it'll be good.
I feel a bit ashamed like dancing, like I'm not used to like dancing in crowds and all that, and yeah, right now we're working on dancing with crews, like learning a couple of people's names, make new friends, and like when you come to the YouTube dance with me, it's all right. Like,
you know, I'm giving something back to these kids, but I'm taking away so much, and automatically once you do that, you feel like you're part of the community. So you know, I've been able to share that with some really nice people that I've met. So I'm really lucky. It's great to be here. Thanks, man. Thanks for that sticker on my back. We're all getting it. You should have kicked me on it.
And that story was put together by Ben Collins in Broome. And that's all for now for this edition of the Indigenous Quarter. From here in Darwin, goodbye for now.